think we closed the hearing already. We did.
We're now going to jump back to item number 22 on the public hearing agenda. This is an application for certificate of appropriateness for the Borough of Manhattan for docket number 156218, block 819, lot 77, 604 through 612 Avenue of the Americas, aka 50 through 58 West 18th Street in the Ladies Mile Historic District. It is a Beaux-Arts style store and loft building designed by Buckman and Fox and built in 1910 through 1912. The application is to modify existing signage and to install flagpoles and banners.
Commissioners, I'll get started while the projector is warming up again. This is 604 to 612 6th Avenue, located at the southeast corner of 6th Avenue and West 18th Street in the Ladies Mile Historic District. In the first page of your handout, I stole your handout. Don't worry about that. The proposal before you today is to remove and replace non-illuminated letters that are on top of the marquee. So in your handouts on sheet number 2, there are 2 marquees that were previously approved under a certificate of appropriateness issued in 1995. So again, sheet number 2, you can see the one existing marquee with 4-foot tall letters reading Old Navy on top of them. The applicants are proposing to replace and relocate those letters. So it would be basically the same letters shifted over to the left outside of the view that's partially obscured by the street tree. So that's on page 2. Moving forward with the application, you can also see on that image on page 2 there are 2 existing flagpoles. The applicants propose to maintain those flagpoles and also install 2 new flagpoles on the 18th Street facade. I believe it's on sheet 7, or slide 7. This would be sheet 8, 4.2. There's a rendering that shows this. So you're seeing the 2 existing flagpoles above the marquee with those 4-foot tall letters, and then the 2 proposed flagpoles, additional flagpoles around the corner. While we're working out the technical difficulty, the last component of this is on the marquees themselves. The previous commission approval did include internally illuminated lettering on the fascias of the marquees. Not sure that those are currently active, so the application proposes to reactivate those, use them again with lens panels surrounding those marquees. So that's on both of the 2 marquees that were previously approved. So again, it's shifting and replacing the letters above the marquee, proposing to install 2 new flagpoles on 18th Street, and then resurfacing the fascia panels on the existing marquees. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mary Dierks to add additional information.
Good morning, Commissioners, Chairman. My name is Mary Dierks, and I'm the preservation consultant for this project. With me to answer questions are Boland Wong, of Representative Old Navy, and Adam Ravis of Sargenti Architects. The first few sheets in the handout show the existing conditions. This was a building built in 1910 to 12. The first part of the building, the taller part, was applied for, and then immediately after the addition on 18th Street was applied for by the same architect. So this is a very long, it has a very long facade on 18th Street. If you look at the historic photos on the 4th page, which is A3, you'll see that this was a lovely building that got a lot of alterations. It was an auto showroom, and in 1995, Old Navy moved into the building in Ladies Mile and restored it beautifully. It's been almost 20 years, and the building needs refurbishment, and Boland is going to talk briefly Corey Harrell explained that, number one, on the marquee on 6th Avenue, the Old Navy letters cannot be seen due to the presence of a tree that grew very well. And the idea is to just move the letters, change out the letters, and move them to the left so that they would be more easily seen. In addition, the Old Navy is looking for 2 additional flags on the very long 18th Street facade. And they would like to replace the panels on the marquees with translucent panels, which were there originally, but that had been replaced at a later date, and relamp the lights that are inside. So there are lights there, they're just being fixed and relamped, and then the translucent panels will have letters on them. So those are the 3 components of the hearing. Bohl and Wong, if you speak to the intent of the refurbishment, and if you would go to, fabulous, we can go to the rendering. Nope, that was it. Okay, same.
Hi, I'm Bolin Wong. I'm with Old Navy. Thanks for taking the time to review our proposal. Today, we really don't have a street presence. If you look at some of the existing photos, you can barely tell that an Old Navy store exists on that corner. Our main signage, our Old Navy signage on the marquee is blocked by an extremely large existing tree that we've asked if we could trim down and relocate. It's extremely hard with the Parks Department. We're basically asking to relocate that sign over above our existing entry doors, and so that people can actually see us. That's relatively a simple thing we would like to do. Again, on 18th Street, we don't have a street presence. You couldn't tell that Old Navy store is there. Right across the street, the Marshalls has an abundance of signage and marketing opportunity, which we do not have. We're just asking that we add 2 additional flagpoles that match the existing flagpoles on 6th Avenue to allow us to have a street presence on that side as well. And then the marquees, those faces that were once illuminated and are no longer illuminated today, we just want to reestablish that illumination. The store is really dark at night. We're hard to find. I do have a photo that unfortunately didn't make it into that packet, but this is a photo of what it looked like when we first opened in 1995. I think it speaks to the architecture of the building. It's actually very pleasing, so we just want to re-illuminate those 3 faces on both of the marquees. We are doing work to just clean up what's out there. The storefront system is rusting, so we want to repaint the storefront system, clean that up to match existing. We want to repair and relamp any kind of lights that are out. Really just cleaning up the existing building architecture.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
One
Are there any,
last-
yes,
One last thing, and that is that flags were a very, very important and common aspect of street life at about the time that this building was built. These are all more or less in the neighborhood. Some of them are on side streets. Well, 18th Street is not one of the giant side streets, but it's not narrow. It's pretty wide. And here's another example of really, there used to be a lot more flags than there are today.
okay, thank you. Are there any questions? All right, we'll take public testimony. Jack Taylor?
I'm Jack Taylor of the Drive to Protect the Ladies Mile District, which this year is celebrating the 25th anniversary of its designation, an auspicious occasion on which to welcome you, Madam Chairman, to your new post and to wish you much success and satisfaction.
Thank you.
At the risk of reviving the controversy some years ago, over street trees in the Soho Cast Iron Historic District, we have to say that the quandary before you now could be resolved by the removal of the street tree that has caused the applicant to propose the very questionable idea of off-centering the signage on his 6th Avenue marquee. Historically, street trees were not common in the overwhelmingly commercial Ladies Mile area. Indeed, on 6th Avenue, they would have interfered with the 6th Avenue elevated railway that then brought shoppers by the thousands to the great department stores of that thoroughfare. Today, there are very few street trees along the 6-block stretch of 6th Avenue in the Ladies Mile Historic District. As for the proposed installation of flagpoles on the West 18th Street facade of this building, our understanding of the Commission policy is that such signage, for that is what it is, signage, should be confined to the wide avenues of the district, leaving the narrow side streets uncluttered and architecturally free of unnecessary distraction. I take issue with the expression a minute ago of West 18th Street being not so narrow. It is as narrow as all the other narrow side streets. With the existing flagpoles on the avenue facade of this building, and with the offending street tree removed, the applicant would have all the identity he needs for the retail operation. Thank you.
Thank you. Kelly Carroll?
Kelly Carroll, Historic Districts Council. HDC asks that the sign remain where it is. The sign is symmetrically placed on the marquee, which in turn is symmetrically placed on the facade of the building. Regarding the flagpoles and banners, in the past, the Commission has found it appropriate at times to allow such things along 6th Avenue, but not on side streets of the Ladies Mile Historic District. HDC asks that this precedent continue to be followed on 18th Street. Thank you.
Thank you. Community Board 5 recommends denial of this request by Old Navy to move the store sign from its current location over the center of the awning on 6th Avenue facade and to add 2 flagpoles on 18th Street. And you would like to respond?
Thank you. Just pointing out again that, yes, the flags were used historically. The applicant is flexible on the location of the flags on 18th Street, and the Parks Department has been very resistant toward moving or removing the tree.
All right, so the tree is actually going to remain. It's not going to be taken down. Is that correct?
They don't want it taken down. We're talking to them, but that's, so far they're saying they don't want it taken down.
Okay, but isn't the reason why you're relocating the sign because
yes.
of the tree?
But if we could relocate the tree, we would.
If you could relocate the tree, you would, but then you wouldn't relocate the sign. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
It's one or the other, but Parks is resistant to relocating the tree.
All right. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, then we can close the hearing. Close the hearing? Okay. All in favor? Okay. Any opposed? All right. Questions and comments or concerns? It seems that there's a legitimate reason for them to move the sign of Old Navy above the canopy, and in fact, it centers on the existing entrance, which is already asymmetrical. And personally, I don't have an issue with the flagpole signs along 18th Street. The other 2 already exist right now, but I understand some of the other commissioners may be concerned by that. Yes.
No, I think that the 2 that I appreciate moving this. I understand we must move it, or they should move it because of the trees, so that's fine. But I think in terms of the flags on 18th Street, that as shown, that they seem to me to be too many. I really would prefer none, and have to keep the 2 on 6 instead. But if there were to be one, that would be maybe possible, but not two for all.
Okay.
But I would go with none. if that
Other
was
comments? Yes.
possible.
I'm mildly, I'm not a marketing expert, but I'm mildly wondrous at the possibility of someone walking through this neighborhood and wondering if there's an Old Navy there, and because there aren't enough signs and flags on your building, they go home disappointed because they haven't been able to find Old Navy. I'm not sure that that's actually how it works. And
But I think the only thing I would say is that sometimes you have competing signs, and so along 18th Street, when you're walking by from a distance, until you get to the corner, you can't see it. So,
Well,
businesses tend to
then
want to do
for-
that.
For me, I think what would work and what would be acceptable is
More than two?
one Old Navy sign on the avenue, and right around the corner, one Old Navy sign on the street.
That would fulfill their need to attract people from both directions. That seems like a reasonable compromise. Yes.
I agree with that suggestion, although I think bunting would have been a great idea, too. I mean, the previous image was we haven't seen a lot of bunting applications, nor do we have a bunting policy, and I think it's time for a bunting policy. But the only thing I would suggest about the one flag idea is you do really read this building as a corner. So I'd say that if they're going to do the one corner, just move it off one bay so that it's symmetrically related to the corner.
Okay.
And I think that if they felt a sign dearth, that they could certainly, in my opinion, add one to the marquee that doesn't have one on 18th Street.
Oh, you mean a sign like of old,
They have a marquee, they don't have an Old Navy on top. They have a little one.
a little
You
one?
can add signs to that, in my opinion. Never seen that.
Okay.
have the big,
Yes.
I was just going to say, I think they probably want the side visual, like,
Yeah.
in effect, like a blade sign, only a flag. I'm okay with the solution of one flag on each side. I think that works nicely, and, it doesn't increase the number, but it accomplishes the purpose.
What about if they retain the first two already, since it's already there, and just have one sign at the corner?
I
That's
could
great.
go along
That
with
seems
that
fine
if the
too,
other
right?
commissioners are
Okay.
supportive.
The two, I prefer.
You're okay with all? I was also okay with all, but I
I'm
think,
only okay with,
but
I
I
would
think
be
there's
more
some
okay with
concerns.
two. not
We can get to
all.
someplace, so why don't we do that? So there'll be one flag sign on 18th Street, and you can retain the other two, and the commission is fine with relocating the Old Navy on top of the canopy, but the flagpole sign on 18th Street should be at the bay, which shows that it's symmetrical to the corner. Okay? All right, so we can close, we've closed the hearing. We can read the resolution. Roberta, you want to read the resolution?
Sure. Okay. In
amendment?
the matter of 604-612 Avenue of the Americas, AKA 50-58, West 18th Street, Ladies Mile Historic District. Application is to modify existing signage and to install flag poles and banners. I recommend approval with modifications, finding that the installation of flagpoles will not cause any damage or significant decorative features to significant decorative features of the facade, that the translucent panel signs will be installed at previously approved locations at the existing marquees and will utilize existing internal light fixtures. That the relocation of the existing Old Navy Channel letter sign at the marquee will not adversely affect the symmetry that is a significant feature of the 6th Avenue facade. However, we recommend that two
Change that to
flags.
ours, yes.
Okay, so there are two flags be installed at 6th Avenue and only one at 18th Street, and that the one installed at 18th Street should be placed in a bay or location that reflects the location of the corner flag banner on 6th Avenue.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, this